So you live down by then?
We're gonna call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody to the first 2021 meeting of the Harrison Heights Homeowners Association. I hope all are well. I can't wear my mask and talk because it fogs up my glasses and I can't see my paper, so forgive me, and I'm 6 feet from everybody, so, okay? Our 2020 annual meeting and election for the board of directors, the date fell during an uncertainty of health effects of the current pandemic, COVID-19. Adhering to the Indiana governor's requirement of the 6-foot rule, the board of directors and Watson consulted with attorney John Reed, and we were informed that the clubhouse was not spacious enough to allow 56+ owners entrance to this meeting. Therefore, we had no choice. We had to follow the rules of the state of Indiana and call for a mail-in vote. Some people have questioned, why can we have this meeting and not the annual voting meeting? Because the annual voting meeting, we have to allow homeowners in. We can't turn them away at the door. We can't say that we're just too crowded and all these people are the only ones that are in here. So what we had to do is take it to another avenue, and that was mail in by votes. So anyone have any questions on that? I know there was a concern on the board, on the wall. No? Okay. Election for 2020 and 2021. In the past years, it called for an election of a chairperson of the meeting, but we didn't have a meeting. So all our votes were done by mail. So that was non-applicable at this time. Calling of the roll, that was non-applicable, but we did have some form of it at the counting of the ballots. Barbara Krause, the secretary, Lori Christoph, Watson Management Company, and Carolyn Belcaster, a unit owner, were the ballot counting representatives of the HOA. As a courtesy to Carol Core and Roland Camp, this board invited them to observe the vote count. However, Carol and Roland had their attorney present, thus Lori had to call the Harrison Heights Homeowners Association attorney, and the attorney stated if Carol and Roland had their legal counsel present, then the HOA needed to be represented by the HOA's legal counsel. So we had to call in an attorney that we have to pay for. The attorney, let's see, where am I at? The attorney presenting Carol and Roland received all ballots casted with votes without the name and unit number of the voter because of we don't tell who voted for who to anybody. So they did not receive anything that relayed to who casted the vote. They just got that this vote was casted, so they would have witness to it. There was they decertified the quorum of at least 51% in that it existed to continue with the vote. On the September 2nd, 2020 vote, there was 85.5% votes casted. I don't think we've ever had anything like that. On the September 16th to 2020 tie vote runoff, there was 84.6 votes casted. And on these votes, we used the percentage of the owner's percentage of their condo unit, not just, you know, it was an owner, it was a percentage of what we have on our bylaws. Any questions on that? Proof of notice of meeting or waiver of notice. The ballot was delivered by U.S. mail with return address and stamp provided. In the letter, it was explained that all votes will need to be delivered to Watson Management Office no later than 9/1/20 to be considered eligible for the vote. Once Lori at Watson Management, Barbara Krause secretary, Carolyn Belcaster owner, John Reed, Harrison Heights attorney, Carol Core, Unit 414, Roland Camp, Unit 101, John Bainsiak attorney, representing Carol Core and Roland Camp were present. The votes were counted, and all the above people agreed that the numbers were correct. 4 elected that day: Barbara Kraus, Harold Reiner, Pat Call, Jason Dahmer. Carol and Roland tied for a board position with a runoff vote and was agreed by Carol and Roland and attorney. A runoff ballot was mailed with a stamped and returned self-addressed envelope with deadline of return to Watson on or before 9/15/2020. On 9/16/2020, we gathered again, and our attorney did not come, but he did actually get a phone call from us and was on the phone, but Carol's attorney came to check on these votes. However, this is what we had. The tie for the 5th board member went to Roland and Carol with 27 votes. There was a new ballot mailed to all owners for their vote tie for Roland or Carol. The following were the results of the ballot count on September 16, 2020, with an 84.2 owner return on the vote. Roland Camp, 27 votes, Carol Ford, 23 votes. With votes in and looked at, we have a now 5-person board: Barbara Kraus, Harold Reiner, Pat Hall, Jason Dahmer, and Roland Camp. Welcome everybody to this year's 2021 board. Yay for us! Now we're going to go on to a standard meeting. Do we have anything with regards to reorganization? Okay. This is the 26th of September 2020, the Board of Directors meeting. This meeting is a meeting of the Harrison Heights Board of Directors in public for the purpose of conducting the Homeowners Association business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation under other as indicated on the agenda. If you want to speak, you need to sign in. The meeting is not being videotaped, am I right today? We are.
Yes.
Okay. Meeting is videotaped and uploaded archived to Harrison Heights YouTube. Go to your YouTube HOA meetings, archive, and you can subscribe.
I got it.
We are going to do the reorganization of the elected 2021 Board of Directors. Do I have a motion to elect a president?
Barbara?
Motion for President Barbara Kraus to be president by
Pat Call.
Cat Call. I'm calling for a second.
I second.
Harold Reiner seconds it. All in favor for Barbara Kraus to be president, say yea or nay.
Yeah.
Motion has carried. Do I have a motion to elect a vice president?
I'll move for Harold Reiner.
Okay, motion for Harold Reiner to be vice president by Jason Dahmer, seconded by Pat Call. All in favor of Harold Reiner to be vice president, yea or nay?
Yeah.
Okay, that means that motion has carried. Motion for, do I have a motion to elect a secretary?
I move that Pat be secretary.
Motion for Pat Call to be secretary by Jason Dahmer, seconded by
I second.
Harold seconds it. All in favor of Pat Call to be secretary, yea or nay?
Yeah.
I made this up, wait.
Yea or nay?
Yeah.
Motion carried. And do I have a motion to elect a treasurer?
Yeah, I do, Jason.
Motion for Jason Dahmer to be treasurer by Harold Reiner, seconded by Pat Call. All in favor for Harold Reiner to be treasurer, yea or nay?
Yay.
Nay. I'm not voting for Harold for treasurer.
Did I say?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I got it. See, I wasn't paying attention.
Motion for Jason Dahmer to be the treasurer, yea or nay?
Yay.
It's the heat, I just know it. Congratulations to all of us on this board, and we are going to make you so happy this year. Any questions? Then we're going to move on to new business. Reading and disposal of any unapproved minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the July 28, 2020 meeting minutes? Motion to approve meeting minutes from the meeting on 7/29/20 by
I'll
Jason
accept
Dahmer,
that.
seconded by
I second.
Harold. Motion carried. Okay, we're now going to go into the reports of the officers. Treasurer's report, Jason?
Okay, as of the end of August 31st, the balances in the various accounts were $3,412.24 in checking, $125,195.60 in the money market, and $111,156.10 in the CD, giving a total balance of $239,763.94.
Could you repeat that again, Justin?
I can give you a copy if
239.
you want.
Oh, whatever.
Did you want the total, or which one did you?
Just need the total, 239.
239,763.94,
Thank you.
with one
The
outstanding check
secretary's not real sharp yet.
for $1,092. That gives us, of that $239,763.94 minus the $1,000 outstanding, we have $194,593.56 in the reserves, leaving an operating budget of $44,078.38.
Okay, any questions? Then we're gonna go on to the bank analysis.
Do we have to move to accept? Right. Oh, that actually.
I have to
bank
read that,
accounts
don't I?
first.
Do I have a motion to review and take under advisement the financial report for the Houston Heights HOA for July, August 2020?
I'll move that we accept the report.
Okay, Jason here from the motion to review and take under advisement. Anyone second it?
I'll second it.
Harold Reiner seconds it. Do you want to just give a brief, short statement on, we have two roof things, you don't have to say all it is, but we know that it's less than what we have in the reserves for.
Okay, yeah. We asked for a refresh.
That's the one on top, right?
We requested a refresh from Watson Management of our estimate to replace the roof on the building. And so far, we have gotten 2 out of the 3 estimates that we requested. One was for $177,000. The second one was for well, they gave us 3 on the second one, but the cheapest of the 3 was $181,000. So with us having $194,593 in the reserves, we have enough money in reserves to put a roof on the building. In addition, both of the estimates that we've gotten so far says that we have at least 1 more year on the existing roof, so.
Everybody, okay. I know some people are concerned about that, but we wanted to bring that to everybody's attention that we have it covered. Bank account analysis. In our money market, we had a balance in July of $125,184.97. Interest paid that month was $10.63. Sorry guys, that's the world today. So our money market now is $125,195.60. Checking account, $3,412.24. CD account, 731 balance was $111,006.10. We did get interest on that. This is the last time we'll see that for a while, it's $150. And we have a balance as of 8/31 of $111,156.10. Now, for the past 6 months, this CD was rolled over, not rolled over, but refreshed into another CD at a 1.6%. That's your 150, and that was from a 2.5. So now we've gone from 1.6 to 0.10. So we're not going to see that $150 again for a while. I searched online. Unless we wanted to go into a 4 or 5, which we don't because we have a roof coming up, we're all about the same, 0.10, and some are lower. But I chose a 6 month instead of a 3 because I heard our roof was gonna last longer, but it didn't take the year, because you never know. Just so
And
our
the rates might be better in
funds,
6 months.
it might be better, yeah, the election will be over. So we don't just roll it over for the comfort of doing it. We did. Jason and I looked and we talked and we looked some more and we stayed on it for what, 2-3 months to watch these rates because we knew it was coming. And this is where we're at. But we took the rate and the time of that CD into account. We've got a roof. We never know what's gonna happen in that elevator, Lord knows. And so we made sure we had long enough to get a better rate than 3 months, but shorter than a year or 2. It just made sense for the building. So we could protect the people that live in the building, that we didn't get penalized if we had to yank money out. Am I clear? I don't know. Clear as mud, probably. So anyway, that's where we sit on the money market and the checking and the CD account. Now we're gonna move to the meeting of the Board of Directors HOA meeting like we're having right now. We're gonna put it quarterly. We don't have many people show up to these meetings, and not many people say they watch the YouTube. So because of the situation with the COVID, and we're still watching it so very carefully, we decided to go to quarterly meetings. But you will see the financials on the board downstairs or through your email if you're connected every month. And so you're not gonna be missing out on a whole lot because we're gonna get our numbers here to you every month on the board. That board is there, look at it because it's really important. People say, oh, I don't look at it. Well, you can't blame me if you're not looking at it, but you didn't get the information. Or if we don't have your email account, look at the board. So anyway, that's where we're at on the meeting. We're gonna do it quarterly, and we are going to, of course, watch and see how COVID-19 works out. We never know when something's gonna creep up and stop it again. The pool is now closed, as we can all tell. But we're gonna talk about the painting of the pool. What prior did we go for in a contract? Harold will probably explain more, as we had to call J&L out more than once. The last time they came out and took our filtration system apart kinda and looked at it, they were coming out with handfuls of chip paint from the pool chipping. I have looked in and I have heard from a couple of pool people that pool painting should be done every 4 to 5 years. I don't remember. Do you remember the last time this pool was painted? Well, we know then if it hasn't been more, how long have you been here, 7 years? 8? I've been here 7. It's not been painted. And you could see, and when I used to go into the pool, that the pool had white spots on it. You know, like the pool was, the paint was being wiped off, but it wasn't, it was being chipped off. That was a reason for us, because we had the filtration system. That was expensive. It's expensive to replace, and shame on us if we let pool chips cause it to deteriorate and break down on us. So we decided we were going to have the pool cleaned, and that was done by power washing. And it had to be, the water had to come out, then we had to put the water back in. We know that's gonna be expensive. But we had talked about we get the pool painted maybe next year after we had it cleaned, but then when we saw what came out, there was nothing but white. And we said to ourselves, okay, if we're going to have to paint it next year, means we're gonna have to drain the pool and then pay a good amount of money to have the water put back in. We took out another contract. One was the cleaning of the pool to make sure that we got the paint chips off. But when we decided that it was so expensive to do 2 rounds of putting the water back in the pool a year apart, we decided to be frugal and to be on the best interest of this building and the people who live here without spending for 2 times to replace the water. We talked among ourselves and we decided that maybe it's just better we just do the whole project. So we have 2 contracts, one for cleaning, and then we turned around, maybe 30 days later, and asked for them to just paint it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because that water going twice in 1 year was crazy. And we knew we weren't getting away, and there's been wonderful activity in the pool this last year, wonderful. It was good to see the building using it. And we knew because of all that, because, you know, when a lot of people are in the pool, your water's going. And at one point, we couldn't get the water to filter it. It wouldn't move. So we had J&L out, J&L took out all of those paint chips and bingo, right?
Yeah, about 2 weeks it was really good, and then it got real slow, and then it came on again. So it came out 2 or 3 times this summer.
Yeah. So it got to be kind of worrisome. If we had not done what we did and that filtration system had gone out, we would have been really, because we still would have had to do this, then we would have had to replace that filtration system, and that's expensive.
And that pump started really angry. When it was clogged up, it was sounding, it was
Yeah.
forcing, yeah.
Well, it was jammed.
Yeah.
It was jamming, and we had no other choice. We did what fiduciary duty we're supposed to do to this building. But again, we have 2 contracts from it. So do I have a motion to clean the surface of the pool? Cat call, motions to empty and clean the pool. Any second?
I'll second.
Carol Reiner seconds. Motion is carried. Oh, yea or nay?
Yeah.
Motion is carried. Do I have a motion to have the pool painted? Motion to paint the pool by
I'll move to paint.
Jason Dahmer, seconded by Pat Paul. Yea or nay? Yea. Motion carried. We have had this, we should have 2 signatures on the bank accounts. At this point in time, the second signature has come off because of an absence of the past president. We are now going to have Pat Call as secretary become the second signature. So her and I will be going over to Century Bank to sign those papers, so you know there's not just me, there's 2 of us. And let me back up with the banks. Everything is not just looked at by the secretary, by me, by the treasurer. It starts mostly with Watson. Watson is watched by me when I sign checks. I'm watched by Jason when I sign checks. Now Pat will come on board and watch the signature of the checks. So we have 4 avenues that watch everything we do with the bank, so they know where we're at. And you've all seen the account analysis that I make up every month. Am I correct? You've all seen what happens in the bank, in the checking, in the CD, in the money market. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. So do you know that comes straight out of the bank account? If you were to pull up my bank account or our bank account today under my name, you'd see the exact numbers I give to you. None of these are fictitious. None of these they're all transparent. Everything we do, we have a backup system for, believe me. Any questions? Okay. Resealing of the service drive. Dom, our past maintenance man, you all remember Dom, right? He had anticipated resealing the service drive before he was called back to work with his apprenticeship full-time job. When he had a Saturday free, he finished the project he was going to do before he left. Dom has worked, his first union job was on the road crew that did that for a living, resurfacing. And he did a mighty fine job on our service drive. And it was very inexpensive. If you look it up, you're gonna see it's 50% less than some of the ones. So do I have a motion for resealing the service drive? Harold Reiner was made motion. Seconded by Jason Dahmer. Yea or nay?
Yay.
Motion carried. Old business. Replacement of the missing shingles on the mansard roof. It is done. We heard the complaint loud and clear, and we called out a company. It was very difficult for any roofing company to come out. Hours were spent waiting on the phone, calling people. We'd call anybody, or I should say Watson. Watson finally found a reputable roof contractor, and they came out and they got all of those back up. So it looks mighty great. So it's done. Problem with the mailroom flooding. If any of you have ever seen me down there that last couple of months, or the first couple of months in the spring and summer, I was cleaning up a foot and a half of water. So we called out a sewer guy. He came and looked and told us what we had to do. So the sewer outside, the back door, has the pipe inside of it has been replaced from something like that to replace to something like that, which now flows much easier because that water comes off of the street. It doesn't seem that Munster can hold all the water, so it starts over at Munster's, but it comes into ours, which becomes our responsibility. And then we had after the larger part, then we had a backflow preventer put in, which means when that water starts rushing toward us, we have a preventer that comes down and stops it from doing it. And then we had all of our gutters rerouted out toward the street instead of straight into the sewer here. We've had 2 pretty big storms since that happened, and not a drop of water came in the mail, not a drop. So at this point in time, we're smiling, saying, well, it looks like it worked. And it's wonderful, because what a mess. And we had to clean it up. I wouldn't leave it, because we have a new floor. And I'll be darned if I'm gonna let that floor get wrecked because it didn't get cleaned up. So we cleaned it up. Any questions? Okay, our arborvitaes on the west side, we took out all of the shrubs and removed all the dead shrubs. And thank God for our new maintenance man. He brought his truck, he removed them, and he took them away. And he got them dumped. So they were removed, but then we planted 8 new arborvitaes. We watered them, we took care of them, they died. And so we got on Costco. And I'm gonna tell you, when you call Costco refund, they would tell you, you've got a 65-minute wait, and I would wait it. Then I called back because I didn't get anything from it, and I had a 94-minute wait. I did that 4 times, and I said, the heck with it, I'm going to Costco itself. Went there, about an hour they waited, and they finally got through and found out that, yeah, you're gonna get your money back. Didn't hear from them, went back the next week, and I stood there while the lady called, and they said, they're just gonna let us refund you. So we got a refund on those. But I read up on arborvitaes after that. I said, let me check on this stuff. And it says the best time to plant an arborvitae bush is early spring, because that's when they start to get new stuff going and they start to grow. So we're waiting till spring to get new arborvitaes for here. So we have healthier and easier time with them. Agreed? Good thought? Any questions? Okay. The elevator. Dear old elevator. The board of directors have been watching the problem with the elevator door, and that's what it seems to be. Not the elevator cab, but the door. The problem, and we will keep in touch with the elevator company. They've been out over and over, and unfortunately, whenever these things happen, this is on a Friday afternoon or a Saturday, when it's overtime for them. But we had to have them out, and they do come out for us immediately, because we took that contract out. Remember we talked about that the last meeting or two, where we took out a contract for service? So they're here almost within 2 hours. Now it seems to be okay, but we're gonna watch it. And we're in conjunction with the elevator company, and we talk to them, they're telling us what's going on. But at this point in time, that's all I can tell you. I don't break it, I can't fix it. All I can do is call a serviceman out. I can't be blamed for it. You can't be angry at me because the elevator breaks down. It is not my fault. It is not this board's fault.
And we do have the money to repair it.
And we do have the money. We have the money. We have already repaired it to over $10,000 this last year. And we have the money to do it, and we still have money in the reserve. So we're good. We're good.
Do we have an estimate of how much it's gonna cost to fix it right this time?
It's fixed right now. It hasn't gone out in 2
They
weeks.
said there was something about replacing the door.
Oh,
Yeah,
the door
re-skimming,
skimming.
Yeah.
Re-skimming,
that's a lot,
yeah.
isn't it?
That was, I think they said said that was $10,000. They have to take the door off, they have to call another company to reskim it, because you have to take the door off, you have to remove the old skimming, then you have to skim it back on. And they said it's gonna be about $10,000. But that doesn't seem to be the problem in itself. They always went in and they said it's the board in the elevator room. They're looking at it and they say, see? I say, no, I don't know what you're talking about. They said that's where they find it. So hopefully it
You're talking
is,
about the electronics board?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that, because it's been good for the last 2 weeks, and it was breaking down at least every 7 days, if not 5. So we keep an eye on it, we do the best we can. They haven't told us that we have to skim that door yet. As a matter of fact, when they got the first time, he said, no, you don't have to worry about it right now.
And they haven't said
Eventually
anything
it'll
about
happen.
replacing this board that they keep looking at?
Mhm.
Okay.
They've done a lot of work on it.
Okay.
And we've done a lot of parts on it, and you did parts on it. So, you know, they're like almost rebuilding it. So we're hoping that that doesn't happen anymore, because we are on top of it. They just come out and find something new, and they just say it's old. So that's where we're at. Any questions?
It's not really a question, but it's a comment. When we replaced that pump several years ago, we were told that, you know, eventually the rest of the elevator was gonna have to be replaced, the hydraulics in underneath.
Okay.
And that is a 4-week job. And the cost at that time was over $100,000.
Well, I don't know, what company was that telling you that?
It wasn't Kone, I can guarantee that.
Okay.
I think it was Chicago Elevator or whoever replaced the
Well,
pump.
now, I have had talk with Chicago Elevator, because that's who we had when we came on. I didn't find them to be very smart. I don't know who you talked to, all I know is who I talked to, and that was the representative, he was a guy, and he's the one we tried to get the elevator license from. It was nothing, they never returned calls, he never did anything.
Well, at the time it was, you know, we did not want to go with Kone because of the price we had with
Right.
them. And this one recommended, and when the guy came out and talked to us, and gave us the estimate, you know, it was the best deal at the time.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, now that we can talk to the current elevator company and find out what they see
Yeah, they
as
have-
upcoming maintenance needed for it, and now that we've got enough in the reserves for the roof, we can start
Yeah,
saving in the reserves
exactly.
for new
Exactly.
additional projects.
Yeah.
Um, And you'll be involved in that when we talk to them and stuff. So you'll be, the 5 of us will be apprised with what's gonna be going on with the elevator. But so far, the last couple of weeks, good. So we can just keep praying that it stays good. Complaints. We had discussed before what we were going to do with people that complain. And we will be instructing Watson to handle complaints by issuing each complainter, the person who's doing the complaining, with a complaint form. Please note, if this complaint form is personal toward another owner, the board will not get involved. If it's owner to owner, don't expect us to get involved, because it's owner to owner, it's neighbor to neighbor. It has nothing to do with us. What's inside your walls is your responsibility. And so from now on, when someone calls with a complaint against a person, against a problem, against anything, they're gonna call Watson. Watson will either email them or mail them a complaint form. And on the complaint form, it is who is issuing the complaint, their full name and their unit number. Whom the complaint is against, including that person's name and unit number. The complaint itself. When the complaintor will need to, then the complaintor, the one complaining, will have to sign the form and get it back to Watson. The complaint will be shared with the committee. I'm sorry, the complaint will be shown and shared with whom was being complained against. No one should be guilty unless they can meet their person that's trying to say that they're guilty. And the board of directors will view the complaint and take it under advisement and make decisions from there. That way, we're not getting phone calls. This is. And it's a pattern we can follow to see, how many people are complaining about that one issue. If we're getting 5 or 6 complaints signed by unit owners, we can figure out something from there. But we have to have more of a traceable and easier to follow than just a phone call and someone being angry on the phone. We can't handle every complaint. Yes?
Complaints about what?
Oh, about people, about the garage door, about all kinds, the hallway
Petty
being
stuff.
dirty, huh?
Petty stuff.
Sometimes. But it's, if we can control it, and if people can actually say who I am and who I'm complaining about, perhaps we can not have legal issues come up from it. And maybe it'll stop people from trying to pass on complaints about another person. Because that gets to me too. And it would be easier on all of us as a board if we could spend our time keeping the building up, watching what's needed to be done, taking care of the problems inside the shared areas, instead of trying to figure out who I get this to, what do I say, how do I say it? Because you can't just say something, because pretty soon we got legal stuff going. And we've become so very careful on how we word it or if we even talk about it. Because we don't want any more attorneys involved, because once someone's attorney's involved, this 56-unit building starts paying for it because we have to. If someone is accusing and has legal counsel, it's our fiduciary duty to make sure that this building has legal counsel. And right now, we're your board. If we're representing you, we're representing you. So we are also paying for another attorney. They'll pay for theirs, but we have to pay for ours, and sometimes it's just not a legal issue. But if they bring their attorney in, this building has to bring their attorney in. And it can get expensive. So that's why, if we can get a complaint form out, maybe we could stop having to pay out for other attorneys.
And separately, if we have a complaint form, we can actually have a record of how we addressed what the
That's
decision was that
exactly
was made on a given issue,
Yes.
and we don't have to revisit it if the issue has not changed.
Because people like to complain, and if you don't answer them, they'll keep bugging you until you answer them. Okay, postings on the owner board, walls in the building and in the elevators. This board has addressed this issue on posting remarks for the building owners to see. People are posting their complaints on the boards downstairs, on the walls downstairs, in the elevator, without signing their name. We have over and over and over told you, if you don't sign your name, you don't own it, we don't own it, it's going in the garbage. I had the delight to meet up with a woman in the building. She's not my friend, she's a neighbor, but she says, I ripped it down, it wasn't signed. If they can't say what it is and it wasn't nice, I'm ripping it down, and she did. And I said, okay. Okay, anything else for this? Because we're gonna go on to announcements. Okay. If we don't have your email address and you want to receive communications through the email account, call Watson and give them your information. Remember, if we have your email and we are sending you notices, you'll get financials, meeting minutes, upcoming meeting dates, reminder of assessment payments, dues, and more information we typically put on the owner's board in the mailroom. If you have a computer and you tell me I don't look at that board downstairs and you haven't given us your email, I have nothing else that I can give you. I've given you every available opportunity to see what goes on in this building by many different avenues. And it would be nice if people would give us their email and, go onto your accounts and see what we have to say. It could be something important that we want to get out before a meeting. So We'd like to see everyone's emails if they can't. For those that don't have emails, we are gonna track it, we're gonna make sure that they get it in their little slots in the mailroom. If you're not on the email, we'll have to get maybe 5 out for people that don't have an email account and get it into their account. But it is on the board. So it's really tough when I hear you didn't give it to me. It's on the board. Well, I don't look at the board. People, we are not the US mail. If you didn't look at the board when it was there, don't blame me. It's just impossible. I had someone come to my door and blamed me because she didn't know that one of the men in the building died. And I said, I put it on the board. She said, well, I don't read the board. But they thought it was my duty to make sure everybody in the building knew he died. It wasn't my duty. It was the deceased spouse's duty. I'm not going to interfere with her by going and knocking on everybody's door, calling them saying her husband died. That wouldn't be right. So it is on the board. If you can't go down and read the board or you don't expect me to run down and, tell you that he died. I really don't have the time, people. This building takes up my whole day. Shout outs. All owners who participated in the election by mailing in their ballots. 88.5? That's a tremendous turnout for votes. I've known this building not to get that, anywhere near that, even sitting in the audience. So I'm really excited. I want to shout out to Carolyn Bellcaster for being a great owner and friend to the building by helping Lori and Barb tally the election votes. She did. She came to our assistance because I need as secretary. It's in the bylaws. Secretary should count the vote. Look at your bylaws. Watson was there as an independent. And Carolyn Bellcaster came as she wasn't. My friend, she wasn't. Your friends. She just came to help, and she's experienced in it. So I wanted to shout out to her for giving her time and her patience. And my husband Bill for putting up the elevator pads when needed, changing the timers and lights on the building. He's always flitting around this building, helping me doing something. And I really appreciate him very much. Here we got guiding practices of great HOA boards. This is what the board lives by. It's not past practices, it's best practices. This is for everyone. I get these off of these tremendous sites, and I know, Roland, you use sites that you pulled up for board of directors, and they have such great wealth of information. But we get this out of here, and as you can see, all of our meetings are under Robert's Rule of Order. That's why we have gavels now. That's why nobody can shout from the audience now. That's why we have a very steadfast camaraderie in this room during a meeting, because we follow Robert's Rules of Order. If you ever get a chance to get one and read through it, it's impressive. Any questions on shout out? Anybody? Oh, I did miss. Catherine, Roland was so very kind to send me, oh, that new agenda.
Is that a K or a C, Catherine?
K-A-T-H-R-Y.
Oh, that's what my mom spelled her name.
Roland gave me what's it called?
Thumb drive.
A thumb drive. And on it is what Catherine did a couple of years ago. She actually took it upon herself and didn't rewrite the rules, but retyped the rules. So they're clean. Look at this.
Bylaws.
Well, these are bylaws, these are declaration of condominium, and these are articles of incorporation. She took it upon herself to sit down at the computer, go through that, and I don't know about anybody else, but I had a mess of papers. Because they were not easy to read. But she actually did this herself, and you can tell her from me, thank you very much. I'm impressed. I was excited.
The secretary appreciates it too.
I pass this along to all of the members on the board. If you ever need a copy, I can get it off my computer and I can get you a copy. Not all at once now because my poor machine will die from heat. But we're gonna hold off on getting everybody a copy until, and I'll get to that in a minute. Hold on to your excitement. We're gonna go to committees. We have a welcoming committee, that's Pat and Barb. A gardening committee, that's Ramilla and Pat. Refurbish the tennis courts is Roland. And social committee, Barb and Pat. We're hoping as soon as this COVID-19 is over, we're gonna see some activity in the building. And has talked about, in her past position, in her old position, she did a lot of these social activities, am I correct?
Yes, you are.
And she talked about some wonderful things that this building can participate in, and we can do, even if we wanted to say, get a bus to take us somewhere, she'd be the lady to go to, and she'd get us a bus, and there'd be a fee. But we could go to play, we could go to something that's happening, we go downtown, we can go wherever when the COVID-19 is done. She's got a lot to do with that, and she's really anxious for this to go away so we can go ahead and have these wonderful activities. She also has activities for in here in the building. You know, we could come here and do some things. It's just gonna be really great to socialize again, and she's our lady. She's our social lady. Okay, now let's see, I was gonna tell you something. Where'd it go? We went quarterly, I told you that. We're gonna have our meetings in December 8th is our next meeting, then I believe it's the 7th of March, then the 8th of June, and then we go to the election and the annual meeting, and that's the first Saturday because that is not the holiday. The holiday doesn't come till after that again. So it'll be separate. That'll go on the wall because Pat will make up a nice form that'll go on the boards with all 4 of those dates. Okay. Did I do anything else before I get to the last part? That. We got the committees. Anybody have anything under other? Nothing under other?
I do have a question.
Sure.
We have a couple.
Well, yours is coming, does any other board member have anything? You'll come under
Oh,
that.
okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, out in the audience, anybody have anything?
Yeah, I signed up to talk.
Look, that's coming after this. This is on the other. Yeah, we got you.
Okay.
Does any other board member have anything?
We have a couple people who have electric cars.
Mhm.
Who's paying for the electricity that they're using?
At this point, we've been working on this and investigating it. To get a station out here, it will be costly, the station itself.
Okay. Actually, I should have brought it with me because I've already looked into this.
Okay,
There is a company that does provide stations
okay.
for each parking unit. Now, whether they can be routed into their meter, I don't know, because that's one of the challenges. Then they would just be charged for the meeting, and they could do it right in their parking space.
Does this company also provide just like one station where you have to?
Well,
pay
they
for
probably
it?
would.
That's probably where at this point.
But one of the advantages that they are recommending is that with a lot of car companies going to electric cars,
Right.
Yeah.
that it would enhance, and the people have to pay for the installation themselves. The owners
Okay,
pay for it, not the association. But it would enhance their property value of their unit if they have an electric charging station.
I agree. And if they're gonna pay for it, now will that say, let's take 5 years from now, I don't have one at my place and I sell my unit, which I'm not going to. and someone moves in that wants it, are they still gonna be able to get that same, how long will they provide that?
Well, I don't know, I just,
Any
Right.
information you've got is what, I can tell you what we've discovered so far. When we were looking into it, we did some research and generally just using the 120 volts that are plugged into just a random outlet, the cost is about $25 a month that they could be using of electricity is the estimate. There's a South Shore Electric Cooperative that we could buy a charging box and put in our parking lot as long as we left it usable by the public, but that was like a $12,000 investment on the part of the association. So that was definitely not something we were interested in. If there's a different thing that you have found, I would definitely want to look through that.
I'll make copies of that.
So can we turn over that investigation to you and you share it with Jason? Okay, I'll put Roland and Jason on that one.
The electric car committee.
That's it. And you can't get ones that go on the floor and sit there. We can't find you in here on Saturday night yelling, you know, go car, go, okay?
All right.
That was a joke, guy. Okay, so that's our electric car committee.
No, the challenge that I think I see is how do we, in an old building like this, how do we route it to their meter?
Right.
But I think if push came to shove, if we can find someone that'll put a meter out in the parking lot.
And just say nobody can charge in the garage, I'd be okay with that. But
Yeah, and you know, I don't know how we would keep the.
And actually, it shouldn't really be that difficult too,
Okay,
because you can just run it on the ceiling of the garage.
okay.
And I would think that's,
Well, if we can do it, we'll do it, because you're right, it is the way of the future.
the
Do
main
we have a
concern,
lot of people that have electric cars?
I think it's only 2 at the moment.
Yeah, I know they in. California,
Okay.
is gonna have one by 2035, I heard on the news.
yeah, that's California.
But if everybody had an electric car, then the building could eat it because everybody would be. The main thing that the board was concerned about previous to this is that whatever rule we put in place, we want it to be enforced on everyone equally. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is something we were considering. Now we've got somebody that'll help you out. Anything else under members? Okay, unit owner comment decorum. The board of directors recognizes the value and importance of owners' fair and orderly comments. You must sign in to speak. You must state your name and unit number. Comments and/or questions must be addressed to the president. No one can address or question individual board members, only the board as a whole. Discussion must be kept to issues considered by the board of directors and not individual board members. No disparaging remarks, heckling, outbursts, or attacks about the board of directors and/or unit owners or their motives will be allowed. The president may interrupt, warn, or terminate a person's statement when the statements are too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. To be clear, the board will treat you with respect and in return expects everyone here to do the same. I will keep the meeting professional and orderly. Any questions? We have public comment now.
Well, we have 2 wonderful people that moved into the 4th floor. And a comment that Roland had made, I initially thought of him. But the one man plays tennis. He plays it with a group of people. You might want to get this on the social calendar. He's looking forward to playing on our tennis court, and he wanted to know if anyone else in the building played tennis. The only one I thought of, Roland, was you, because you had mentioned it at one time. But if you are interested, give me your name and number, and I'll have him get a hold of you. I mean, he's really looking forward to this, and he already plays with a group of people, but, he just moved in, so obviously he hadn't been playing on our court. So I just wanted to throw that out. I'm going to put that in the minutes. I would be happy to pass that on. Thank you.
Is that it on public? Everybody?
That's all I have.
Okay, so anybody have any questions?
Do you want me to put his name in, Carol, or just a 4th floor resident?
It's Scott on 409. You got 409.
Scott, 409.
Well, I thought you said 401 and 403.
No, I said 2 new people on the 4th floor, but you know, it's the mask, Barb, it's hard.
Yeah.
My voice does not carry.
It's
So,
401.
but he bought Ann Kokarski's 409, Scott.
Gotcha.
I know I can't say anything because I didn't sign in. I'm not quite sure about this, if I can say something.
Sure. You gotta tell us your name.
Okay, Trudy Walters, 205.
Okay,
Legally Gertrude Walters. Okay.
okay.
The only reason of signing in and not signing in, I'm not quite sure about. If I sit here at a board meeting and something is discussed around through the evening, the course of the evening, I haven't signed in, and I would like to either ask a question or a comment, I don't feel I can do that, and I'm not sure that
Well, you did ask and I said, okay. So you're okay. Go ahead and ask.
and so, no, I don't have anything tonight, but that was my
Oh, I
thing.
thought you were gonna invite us up for cake and coffee. Oh,
No,
for
I
heaven's
didn't
sake.
bake this week.
It's okay, we can have you go buy it.
But that was the only thing, is if you had a comment.
And you did it at the right moment, at the right time, when we went to public comment.
Okay,
You find something that you wanna talk about, you just ask permission. When you leave though, please sign it.
okay.
That way the secretary can properly attribute the notes to you.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask Judy, how are you spelling your name? T-R-U-D-I, Y?
D-Y.
D-Y. I worked in a school, there are more spellings of common names than you could imagine.
Anything else?
No,
This meeting is adjourned.